Welcome, everybody, to another ear-pleasing episode of HomeKit Insider. You've got me, as always, Andrew O'Hara, here with who apparently should be called Sneezin' Steven with this little cold going on, or as the internet has been calling him, Leavin' Steven. It is Steven Robles.
That was, thank you for that final intro. Yes, I have a cold, but it makes for great radio voice. It happened in the perfect time. Tomorrow, there will be no voice. I'll just be whispering. So it happened. But let's talk about some HomeKit stuff, Andrew. This is our final run. If you didn't hear last week's episode, it is my final time here on HomeKit Insider. But let's talk about home stuff. Let's just do it. There's new HomeKit devices all the time. It's still exciting. We still have HomeKiteers out there. So let's do it. Actually, this first one I was excited about it and then not. I'm all discombobulated because I'm not feeling well. I'm sorry. 2 5-star reviews before we close out. CL Const from USA and CR Peck from the USA, HomeKiteers. Thank you for those 5-star reviews. Now, I don't know if you saw this announcement, Andrew. Did you see Lutron making a deal about this new iPad app they were launching? Did you see that on Instagram and stuff?
No.
No, I follow them and I was like, oh, this is so exciting.
I'm not on Instagram.
You're not on Instagram at all?
No, not really. I mean, I guess technically I have an account.
Right.
I tend to avoid meta products. I'm technically on Threads too, but am I? No. Is anyone?
Is anyone really? Okay, yeah, I totally get that. Well, I'm on Instagram, and Lutron was hyping this new iPad app up, and I was like, oh man, Lutron, they never do a new app. I'm very excited about this. And so they announced this app. It came out. It's called the Lutron Luxury iPad app. And I was like, wow, this seems like maybe it's going to be a high-end, controlling app for your HomeKit devices. I'm showing it right now if you go to youtube.com/HomeKitInsider.
It looks pretty in this.
It looks amazing.
Preview.
Yeah, this preview looks awesome. The app looks good, too. It's not a controller at all. It is just to show off Lutron products. That's literally all it does. And I was
an experience app.
They call it the Lutron Luxury Experience, which makes me so mad. I was like, I want luxury. I want to control my smart home in luxurious fashion. No, this just tells you what to buy. That's all.
You know what that looks like to me?
What's that?
It looks like a HomeKit demo app that you'd see in an Apple store.
Right.
That would just demo everything and tell you why you need HomeKit.
Yes. And that is silliness. Lutron. Don't make a big deal out of an app you just want people to buy stuff from. You can't even buy it in the app. It literally just shows you the products in action. There's no buy button. There's no get this on Amazon button. It's ridiculous. So anyway, Lutron, I love Lutron. I've been slowly replacing every switch in my house with Lutron switches because I am tired, Andrew, of accessory not responding. I can tell you right now, I can guarantee you, I can show my phone to the camera, and it's going to tell you that there's accessories with no response. Oh, look. Sure enough. Look at that. 6 accessories, no response. And guess what? 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 of those are light switches. I've had enough. I'm not doing it anymore. The only light switches I never get that from are Lutron, so that's what I'm going to do. And I know Wemo, they have a thread. Hold on. Wemo has a thread light switch. I actually have it right here. I still have yet to install it, but I have such a visceral reaction to the previous Wemo switches that just keep disconnecting. Just can't bring myself to do it. So, anyway, this is sitting in a box. Do you have the same? Do you have Leviton? You have Leviton switches, right? You have those?
Yeah, I've got a few different switches placed around the house. I don't have as many smart light switches as you'd think. Most of my switches I've got 3 or 4 of the Brilliant wall panels that have multiple switches within them. Never had an issue with disconnecting or non-responsiveness from them. I have an OG Eve switch, and in my head, I'm pretty sure I have it here, the thread-enabled version. In my head, I'm like, yeah, I'm going to upgrade that one to the thread one. I'm like, but also I've had no issues with it. Why swap it unnecessarily, I guess? It works flawlessly. It's set on our porch lights, and every time I come home after sundown, my porch lights come on, and it's part of the good night scene and everything, but it always works. So I'm I'm hesitant to just replace it for the sake of a new one. And then I've got a couple of the Lutron ones around with no issue, and then we have some Hue lights in the one room with the Lutron Aura.
Yes,
the little round dial guy. Yeah.
I like that. Yeah, I have an Eve right here in the studio, and that is pretty solid. I'll give Eve credit as well. The capacitive thing, it throws people off. Like if you have like really smart home nerds, they're like, "What do I do? Like, what do I what do I press?" But then it turns out they like because you could tap anywhere on the surface. I will also give credit to Maris light switches. They're one of the cheapest HomeKit light switches you can get. I think they're like 20-something bucks for the Maris switches. And for some reason, those also are very solid. They don't disconnect. And so, kudos to Maris. And their garage door opener is still MVP. Maris garage door opener, you know what? We should do an MVP, like, device. If you could think, let's do it right now, real quick. MVP.
Oh, gosh, on the spot.
On the spot. MVP, HomeKit device. I think I'm going to give it to, wow. I set that up, and now I'm, like, stressing. Let's do it at the end. Because I got to think about it. I'm not sure. We'll award our HomeKit MVP device later. Later. I put it in the notes. Okay. Next, IKEA with their dirihueria. I don't know how to say their thing. I can't play the thing. Okay. IKEA launches a bunch of sensors. They have like water leak sensors, door sensors, stuff like that. And works with their dirihueria app. I know I'm not saying that right. I'm sorry. And so what we get in HomeKit. Yeah, tell me about these, Andrew. We got new sensors? Pretty much. Well, fancy names.
These are the trio of new sensors that are rolling out early 2024. There's the Parasol, which is a door and window sensor. This can be paired directly with, I think, one bulb, but can be directly paired with the bulb without a hub or anything.
Okay.
This one will not work with the Throd-free hub that's been available and only works with the Herrera. I can't even do it.
It's better that we
Then
don't
there's the
have to say it.
Valhorn, which is a motion sensor, can connect directly up to 10 bulbs for this guy and runs on 3 AAA batteries, plus it's indoor-outdoor with IP44 water resistance. That's kind of big because we have one existing HomeKit-enabled outdoor sensor, which is the Hue Motion Sensor.
Right.
So this is a new outdoor motion sensor that folks can rely on when you get the IKEA hub to go with it.
Nice.
The last one, also that one will work with the Throd-free, so that one is like both models.
Yeah.
And then the last one is the Bodring, which is a water leakage sensor, 60 decibel siren at 1 meter away.
Wow.
This will not work with Throd-free, so you have to have the newer hub for it.
Okay.
But all of these are supposed to be getting madder when the DGera hub
Dig
gets
Dug era.
updated.
It's the Dig Dug era.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's it. Okay. Well, that's cool. It's nice to have more water leak sensors for sure. I know I usually go the Aqara. I also have the Eve water guard. But it's nice to have new options. That's always good. And new contact sensors. Very cool.
I think the motion sensor is the most exciting to me.
Yeah, that is cool.
just for that outdoor abilities.
Yeah.
I recently had more. This is sorry. I'll put in the notes. We'll get
Okay,
to it.
very good. We're
Continue.
creating the show on the fly. I like it. This is good. This is not supposed to be an outdoor motion sensor, but I also have the Eve motion sensor on my patio, and it does pretty good out there. This is not supposed to be outdoor, but it's under a covered awning in Florida, so it's fine.
Still waiting on just HomeKit to add. Some people have asked this too, I think, in either Twitter show notes, something. But I've been asked again recently, like, hey, can I use these outdoor cameras to trigger on animals so that we can do that?
Right.
And it's like,
Right.
no, because HomeKit still doesn't allow you to, you can record based on what it detects, but you cannot trigger automations based on what it detects, which is the most obnoxious thing.
It's silly. That is silly. What's not silly, we have another Eve device. The Eve Play, you can now get it for $150. This is an AirPlay 2 receiver. And so, we've had a couple of boxes over the year. I feel like Belkin had one of these a while. And then Sonos, of course, has their amp. But this has an Ethernet jack, RCA, and optical and coaxial digital out. You can connect some bookshelf speakers to it. And you can AirPlay your speakers, bookshelf speakers. So that's fun. I was gonna ask you, Andrew, do you have any bookshelf speaker recommendations because I want to try some of these things, but I don't have, like, I have a bunch of Sonos speakers. That's not going to help me. So I need bookshelf speakers. I know. Do you like the Kef, right? You got the high end.
Kef is super nice, but a lot of the Kef are now smart. Like they do have non-smart ones.
Okay.
For my the previous ones that I've used 2 sets recently that I purchased. So these were actual purchasing decisions.
Right.
I bought a pair of I had 4 Klipsch speakers that I really liked.
Okay.
Still do. And then I bought a set of I believe Fluence speakers that were also very nice.
Yeah, bless you.
So those were the 2 that I had purchased because back in the day, Stephen,
back in the day,
if you remember, Airport Express was an AirPlay receiver.
Yes.
And I even had, if you even remember before, there was this product called the Griffin 20 because the OG Airport Express, or maybe like second generation Airport Express, it looked like a power brick and you pulled out the little duck head plug. And there was like called the Griffin 20 and it was a little amp and you would actually just slide your Airport Express right into the top of it and it like made it one piece.
Yes.
And it turned this product into an AirPlay digital amp receiver.
Yes.
And then I connected it to like my Klipsch speakers and had smart speakers before smart speakers were really a thing taking off. And then I ended up getting a second set of Fluence speakers and used a set of 4 Klipsch speakers as like a surround sound system.
Wow. With
a Redenon receiver and used my Belkin or Griffin 20 with Airport Express.
That's nice.
So it's been a wild ride, but now I don't use any, not frequently, but I have them all here. So I'm going to try this, the Eve Play out.
That's cool.
For sure.
No, that's cool. I also did the Airport Express to speaker hack. It wasn't a hack. I mean, Apple's literally made it to do that.
That's what it was.
Yeah, it had a headphone jack on the Airport Express. And I remember I had an Apple TV, and I would put the Airport Express, they were connected to a Bose, they were cheap $100 Bose speakers, like bookshelf speakers, but it was way better than the TV speakers. And it was when our kids were much younger. And so I put the speakers on the headboard of the bed so they could be right next to me and my wife's ears. And then I had the Apple TV AirPlay to the Airport Express. Worked great. It was solid for years and years. I loved it. Airport Express. Apple should make wireless routers again. Let me just say.
That's been a constant request.
Please.
Come on now. It's got to be.
Apple.
It's such a missed opportunity just seeding that market to everyone. I get it that they're not a top seller, but they had to be, they could use, especially now that Apple's doing so much with services, being able to put private relay or something directly onto your house router and HomeKit secure support there.
Yes.
Duh. Could be a home hub, thread router, all these things. Yeah,
it's a shame. But I will say Ubiquiti, who makes the UniFi wireless lineup, they actually do have a new base model wireless router for those that want to try the UniFi system but don't want to invest into all the crazy power over Ethernet switches and all that kind of stuff. And so I think it's called, let me see. This is called, they have a bunch of stuff. Let me see if they have it on their homepage. Here it is. This is the Instant UniFi.
Airport Express.
Right here. And this is, we'll put a link in the show notes. It's $150. Of course, it's sold out. I think everybody grabbed them. But it's a Wi-Fi 6 wireless router. You can get multiple that make a mesh network. And if you want another option besides Eero and the Google Nest Wi-Fi things or Netgear, I still love my UniFi stuff. That's my internet backend. And this is a cool new option, $150 for a really good wireless router. I mean, UniFi is good stuff. I'm just saying.
I mean, it literally looks like the last gen Airport Express, but they called it the UniFi Express.
That is true.
And the setup card even looks like Apple's setup card, where it popped up at the bottom of the screen in that modal.
That is true.
And walked through.
That is true. Maybe they did that all on purpose. Maybe. But it's
if Apple's not making the Airport Express, we will.
And literally call it Express. But I mean,
yes.
UniFi stuff is good. I'm just saying. $150. It's good. It's a good wireless router deal. So anyway, all right, that's internet. More news. Zemismart now has a second gen HomeKit Zigbee hub. Now that's kind of weird. They announced 2 hubs recently. They announced a Thread and Matter HomeKit, Thread, Matter, Zigbee Hub, and they also have a different one that's specifically for HomeKit. And the reason why they did the both is because there's still some devices not supported with Matter that they wanted to give HomeKit users the option to support Zigbee devices into HomeKit. And so this is, you have like two weird options for it. I would get the Matter over Thread because we're going to have Matter updates in the future and more devices coming to it, and I feel like that's more future-proofing. But if you want to get Zigbee devices into your Apple Home, into HomeKit, this is one of those options to do with the Zemismart Zigbee Hub. So I never got a chance to try any of these, but do you have any of these, like Zigbee hubs, Z-Wave hubs? I never tried them.
No. I just haven't had a use for them. I think they're really beneficial for people who already have like an existing Z-Wave Zigbee system and then want to be able to quickly add it to HomeKit. But as like someone with an established HomeKit home, there's little need for it, and like there are a lot of affordable sensors out there that you can connect to this, but right now I don't have a big use for it.
Right, exactly. All right, well, before we get to the rest of the news, we have two sponsors we would like to thank right here in the middle. The first one, this is so apropos. I mean, I don't know if they planned this for me to get sick and for them to be the sponsors in the same week. I'm not sure. But today's episode is brought to you by Zocdoc. When you need to find a doctor, you go to the free Zocdoc app, and you can book a doctor's appointment right there for free. Now, listen, you've heard me talk about Zocdoc before if you listen to the show. I love the app. I've booked appointments for myself, for my kids. I've done in-person appointments, online appointments. You could do telehealth stuff. And the best part is, here in the U.S., you give it your insurance card information, and then you can search for doctors that take your insurance, and you don't have to question it. You don't have to sit on a phone tree, make an appointment on the phone. Nobody wants to do that. And then you get to the doctor's office, and they say, oh, we don't take your insurance. So you don't have to deal with that ever again. Zocdoc is the free app where you can find amazing doctors and book appointments online. We're talking about booking appointments with thousands of top-rated, patient-reviewed doctors and specialists, and you can filter specifically for ones who take your insurance, are located near you, and treat almost any condition you're searching for. Like whatever I got right here, this congestion, I can find a doctor that could take care of that. There was one day I woke up and my eye was a little red. This was a long time ago, not to be too gross. But I was like, I want to take care of this right away. And so I went to the Zocdoc app. It was like 7 in the morning. I was like, Zocdoc, get me a telehealth appointment. Hours later, like 3 hours later, I was on a video call with a doctor. They looked at my eye. They said, yeah, that's gross. They didn't really say that. And they put in a prescription for antibiotics, and I went to pick it up, like by lunchtime. All from like 7 in the morning to lunchtime, I had a prescription in hand, thanks to Zocdoc and the wonderful doctors there. Andrew, I know you like doing Zocdoc and then just kind of like passing the waiting room, being like, look at all you peasants. No, just kidding. Don't do that. No, but you've done it right. You and Faith have used Zocdoc before. Do that kind of stuff.
Absolutely. I can see that being one of the Zocdoc commercials, like some guy just walking through, chest puffed up, all these other plebeians just sitting there not using the Zocdoc app.
Look at all
having
this.
to wait for their illnesses. Like
That's exactly
and
right.
it's free. It's not like you're paying
Oh, my word.
for this functionality. It's free.
It is free.
Like
amazing. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Also, when you make an appointment, this happened a couple of times, you could fill out all the forms they send you the electronic forms to do before you go to the appointment. So like when I went to the doctor in person, because I also did that through Zocdoc, I didn't have to fill out any forms when I got there. They're like, oh, you did this online. I said, thank you, Zocdoc. This is how it should be done. So here's what you do. Go to Zocdoc.com/HKI and download the Zocdoc app for free. It is free, totally free. And find a book a top-rated doctor today. That's ZocDoc.com/HKI, Zocdoc.com/HKI. Thanks to Zocdoc for sponsoring this episode. And once you feel better after you went to the doctor, what you do is you get home, you make yourself a nice lunch, and it only takes 2 minutes or 7 minutes in the toaster oven by cooking up a Factor meal. That was the best transition of all time. I just have to say. That was one of the best. Listen, it's a bustling holiday season we're heading into right now. Things are really busy, and you need nutritious, flavorful meals on those jam-packed days. You need your energy to go fight people in the stores or, fight Amazon to get it delivered tomorrow. Whatever you're fighting to get those gifts on time. Use Factor. It's America's #1 ready-to-eat meal delivery service. It helps you eat well, breakfast, lunch, and dinner with chef-prepared, dietitian-approved, ready-to-eat meals delivered straight to your door. Listen, I do the grocery shopping in the family. I do the grocery shopping. My wife does the meal prepping. It takes a lot of work. It's a lot of time. And, you know, that's good. Do those things too. But also, sometimes you just got to save time. You just don't want to have to go to the grocery store every time. You want to be able to have a quick lunch. For me, I do 7 minutes in the toaster oven. I pop that Factor meal in there. Boom. Tastes great. I know. Sorry, I don't. You're just looking at me like I'm crazy. You know, you like Factor too. I know you like the Factor meals. You hit them up.
Yeah, absolutely. I love the smoothies. Like the last box we got, I put some smoothies in there, which are fantastic.
That's right.
And just like so sometimes we will order food so that I can do like meal prep, and I'll like put in the order like the night before, and it's like, oh, put in your order, and then we'll just bring it to your door and everything. And I'm like, I'm trying to save time, and next thing I know, like my order arrives or they're filling it out, and they're, oh, we don't have these like 5 things on your order. I'm like,
right.
How you ain't got peppers? How you ain't got chicken? Like these are basic things.
Exactly.
And then it's like, okay, well now my meal prep is scrapped. I can't spend. How am I going to find a substitution for like a primary ingredient in 30 seconds while you're like, hey, I'm waiting at the checkout with your order?
Don't do that.
It is stress. And then you don't have your stuff, and then you got to find a whole other meal with the ingredients that you do get. And
It's the worst.
7 minutes. You just buy it, and then you stick it in the toaster oven, and you're done. And especially during the holidays when stuff is crazy, and you're probably like, you know, eating tons of sides and sweets and everything. Factor are delicious. They are like healthy, nutritionist, like based, like they're so good. It's
so good.
Such a good sponsor that we just like to use all the time. My wife keeps buying the boxes. She does.
They're so good. They are. They're so good. And it's not just for dinner. You can have extra convenience any time of day. They have 55 plus add-ons that you could do quick breakfast items, lunch to go, grab and go, snacks. Like Andrew mentioned, the smoothies. They have juices. It's great. Here's what you do. You go to factormeals.com/HomeKit50 and use the promo code HomeKit50 to get 50% off. That's code HomeKit50 at factormeals.com/HomeKit50 to get 50% off. That link is in the show notes. You can get it there. Our thanks to Factor for sponsoring this episode. A couple other news, and then I got to still think about my MVP HomeKit device. I don't even know what to do about that. Okay. I don't even know why I suggested that. Okay. Also, Tuo launched a Matter Thread indoor temperature and air quality sensor. Tuo is a newer HomeKit brand on the market. I actually have a Tuo button. Hold on, I have like 18 buttons here. I got to find the Tuo. This is the Tuo button, and this is a Matter over Thread button. Love the Tuo button. And now Tuo has sensors, and this is an indoor temperature air quality sensor. It is $50, which I was looking at indoor temperature air quality sensors because I don't know if you heard, Andrew. I got a snake. My kids now have a pet snake.
Well, that's what happens, I guess, when you live in Florida.
Listen, I'm not even going to fight that. Okay, so we have a snake, and one of the things you have to do is make sure the temperature is right. So I thought about getting a HomeKit temperature sensor to put in the snake terrarium. But a lot of the other room sensors, some of them get pretty expensive. So I like this. That is $50, and you can get it. You can order it right now on the Tuo website. Ooh, comes in black too. That's pretty cool. Tuo website, and yeah, there you go. Matter Thread works with Apple Home. It's pretty nice. That's all I got to say about that. Tell me, Andrew, Ecobee Doorbell update. What is the update?
Stephen?
Yes.
When we talked about the original launch of the Ecobee Doorbell,
yes,
I gave it high praise.
You did.
High praise. But it had one shortcoming in that it did not allow you to enable activity notifications. And that meant you couldn't get an alert through the Home app on your phone whenever motion was detected.
Right.
And you couldn't get alerts on your Apple TV when motion was detected. And to me, these were like major features that were lacking. So I held off on the review, like on our Apple Insider review, because they said this was coming. They couldn't get it, polished for launch, so it didn't make it into the launch. And I've been waiting, and I've been patient, and I can now finally say that it has been updated. I can now fully recommend the Ecobee Doorbell Camera. It's got everything that I'm looking for in a doorbell, and now especially I have been using it for a substantial period of time because I have left it on the door waiting for this update to come through. and it is quick to respond. It's got a great field of view. We've got so many features baked into this guy that I really like, and now it has support for those activity notifications on your phone and your Apple TV. So if you are looking for a new video doorbell, this is something to check out. And you guys know, like, I love that the indoor doorbell is so good from them.
Yes. Well, and this, like, the video shows up on your Ecobee thermostat, which is really cool. And
yes,
yeah, it's very cool. Now the only thing, this is not HomeKit Secure Video, right? You have to pay the subscription.
Correct.
Right. But it is HomeKit Video. Like, you can get it in the Home app. Is that it?
Yes.
Okay. I get it. I do like the look of this thing. I like that you get it. You see it on the thermostat. It's pretty cool. If you're in the market, Ecobee Doorbell.
I think the price point is fair.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
I mean, $150, $160 there too. Yep.
That's pretty good.
Ecobee stuff is kind of perplexing to me sometimes because their indoor camera I still think is one of the best ones, and it is shockingly affordable. It goes so cheap, and it is one of the nicest indoor cameras that works with HSV.
Right.
So it's wild because they're definitely on the premium end of the market with their products, and yet their camera always great sales on.
Is it the the smart camera from Ecobee with voice control?
Yes.
$100. Yeah. Pretty good.
I swear, Steven, I've seen that thing go down to $50, $60.
That's crazy. Wild.
I could be making this up.
You've seen it for $3.
I swear. I saw it on Temu, Steven, for $3.
Okay, hold on a second. I know of Temu in the cultural zeitgeist, okay? And I was like, there's no way I'm not doing this, whatever it is. I'm not doing it. My father-in-law comes up to me. He's like, have you heard of the Temu app? I was like, yes. I'm not doing anything with it. He's like, bruh, I got 40 pairs of socks for $3 or something like that. And I was like, okay, Temu? And so I downloaded it, and I was going to try it, and I just couldn't bear putting my address into that app. I just did not want it to know where I lived. I don't know what is behind that app or who's behind that app. And I got all the way. I added some socks and some, I don't know, loofahs or whatever to my cart. It was going to be $5 for a bunch of socks, and I was like, I can't put my address in here. Have you ever used Temu yourself?
I know a lot of people who have used it, and I even talked to our mail lady, and she says she passes those packages out like crazy.
Okay.
And I've seen some of the products that you get from it, and I'll say they're what you expect for the price point.
Right.
They're not, there's some stuff that is just, terrible, but some stuff, end up smaller or cheaper. A lot of the marketing images seem to look nice,
sure.
But I know our neighbors have ordered from them before, and it's fine stuff, but you can get some kind of basic things really, really cheap.
Yeah.
But yeah, like you said, there's been so many reports on Temu and how safe your data is, but yeah.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I can't do it. I'm not going to do it.
Okay.
Yes.
If we pivot back to the camera, I'm looking,
sure.
and it did drop down, I believe, to easily below 100. First off, it's on $80 right now on Amazon.
Oh, okay.
And there have been sales for I believe $60. But they also I forgot that it had all these other things. It does the smart alarm detection. So if you have their subscription, it can detect smoke alarms and other alarms and alert you just like HomePods can. You can stream Spotify through this thing using the voice control.
Okay.
And they do have this on the doorbell too, called Smart Focus V2, which is where it detects the motion and then zooms in on it. And I believe that it even does that zooming in aspect on HomeKit Secure Video.
Whoa.
So you get someone walks in and it zooms in and follows them across your room, and you'll see that in HSV. So there's some cool stuff with that camera.
Now, and this one is HomeKit Secure Video?
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, look at this. $80 for this camera. I almost bought something live online. Again, live as we record.
You should for your last episode.
I know. Maybe. We'll see. Okay. We'll put links to those. Now, I wanted to update. So the Apple Music Replay came out last week, and everybody was like, hey, these are the songs I listen to, yada, yada, and all that kind of stuff. My Apple Music Replay was totally bonked by my profile being on all the HomePods. Give me a second. And so basically my Apple Music Replay was like kids music and like bedtime, because all my kids play music at night. They all have HomePods in their room, and apparently it was all counting for my listening history. So my Apple Music Replay doesn't mean anything to me. So I went in, and I have two things to say. Number one, I understand for every individual HomePod that you have, you can go in and you decide what profile is going to update that HomePod. So there's this screen. Let me not dox my email here. There's this screen right here, which you can choose. Of course, it's not going to focus because my hand's there. You choose the person that is the primary user for a HomePod. And then whenever that HomePod plays something, it will apply to their iCloud or their Apple ID for the listening history. I had set all my HomePods to like the default HomePod user, which like had no face on it. It's just like HomePod user account. That seemed to not matter. Like it still counted for me personally, even if HomePods were, set to that default account, not connected to a person. So the other thing I did, and apparently this is what you got to do, is I go to the home settings, you tap your profile, and then on your profile there's an update listening history option here under your personal name. When you go to update listening history, then it will show you all the HomePods in your house, including my Ecobee thermostat, which plays music, and so it counts as an update listening history. These were all toggled on, and so I had to go in there and toggle all of these off, so the HomePods, except for the one here in the studio, do not update my listening history. So maybe next year I'll have an Apple Music Replay that actually means anything. But I will say, this thing is buggy because I turned off all these toggles except for the studio, and this living room HomePod Mini toggled itself on since last I checked, which was like yesterday. So this is not foolproof. So don't, I get it. Wes was like calling me a dork on Threads because like, hey, just turn off your update. Look, this is a bug right here. That toggle was not on yesterday. I'm going to turn it off. I'll toggle it off, and I'll show you all tomorrow when it comes back. But anyway, you got to make sure to turn that off for your Apple Music Replay to actually mean something. So, did you have that issue, or is your Apple Music Replay just pristine? Just looks good. You're fine.
I mean, it looks fine. Yeah. It's just a weird.
The behavior is weird. The HomePods have weird behavior.
When it's just like, oh, you've listened to this song a bunch, I'm like, that was really my most listened to song. I feel like I've listened
to Shake It Off from Taylor Swift. Just
other
be real.
ones.
Just be real.
More.
Just say.
I don't know. It's just weird. But I have my general method of listening. This is before Apple made a bunch of substantial music changes in like 17.1 and 17.2. Right. But I would create, because in my actual like music album, first off, I have a bunch of ripped CDs and everything from like high school era. I have CDs that I had ripped for Faith back in like high school era when I built her an iPod and loaded it up with her entire CD collection.
Right.
That are still like sitting around in my library. I've got comedy albums, like Broadway albums. So like if I just hit like shuffle on my music, it was hit or miss of what would pop up. So I created like one massive playlist of just like songs. Like these are just, like all genres. Like basically just, these are all of the songs in my playlist that I like. And that's kind of just my heavy rotation of music. But I will say my biggest problem with Apple Music, I don't know if you've experienced this when you're like listening to a playlist, somehow it plays the same freaking songs constantly. Like, despite it having like 1,000-something songs in it or whatever, it's like, you really want to listen to 3 a.m. 100 times. I'm like, I mean, I like the song, but like, why is it the only song? Like, how does like every third song or something is like that? I don't understand how its shuffle works. And I actually had somebody reach out to me before on Twitter saying they actually experienced this too, and they created a shortcut that they would play that would automatically pick a random song from that playlist, and it would check if it had been played recently.
Oh, my word.
And if it was played in the last week, it would repeat and go to the next one.
Wow.
And I'm like, that is brilliant, and also shouldn't be a thing. That should not have to be a thing that you do.
It should not have to be a thing. That's pretty interesting, though. Also to that note, in 17.2, one of the updates discovered was that a focus mode setting in 17.2 will now allow you to pause listening history in a focus mode. And so if your sleep focus mode, maybe you have white noise playing or some other song playing that you don't want to update your listening history, so you don't have the same song 100 times in a month, then you can turn off listening history just for a focus mode. That's pretty cool. So that's coming soon. I have a question for you, Andrew. The HomePod Mini came out 3 years ago, November 2020.
Sure. Cool.
Is it still a good buy for $100? Do you think it's still a good value? Think it's worth it?
No, I don't think it full price, but we've seen prices for $80 pretty frequently, I feel like $79. And that feels like a better price point.
Yeah.
I mean, let's be real. Apple has to have at least a somewhat affordable speaker to compare with the literally Rubbermaid containers of Echoes that get placed out at Best Buy and Walmart and Target and stuff. It's here, just grab one of these as you don't pay, just take it. Would you please take
For
our
free.
Echoes, please?
Yes.
So I think $100 is on the steeper side, but almost because we do see frequently sales for at least $80, and $80 seems more palatable. Hundreds, man, I want to spend $100. Well, I could spend $80. That's closer to $50. That's not too bad. You know how math goes.
Math.
When you're contemplating buying something.
Maths. Yeah, I get it. Yeah, I was thinking about all of Apple's products, and the HomePod Mini being 3 years old. It's also if to get an updated version, I mean, maybe Apple could improve the audio. You're dealing with physics there. It's a baseball-sized device. There's only so much you could do. It has Thread. It has a temperature humidity sensor. You could update the processor, so maybe Siri would be better or faster. And I actually had some people on social media because I was saying, I think it's still a good device for what it is, especially if you can get a pair, again, on sale. A pair of HomePod Minis can sound pretty decent, especially in something like a bathroom or whatever. But some people were saying their Siri experience is just horrible on these, which I have mixed experience. I have a HomePod Mini in my bedroom that I trigger all my evening commands and all that, and it does pretty good. But a faster processor would always help, having that Siri be a little more responsive. I would like to see Apple update it. New colors would be nice. It's had the same colors for 2-something years, I think. So that would be nice.
They could just do a mid-cycle color refresh.
Yeah.
That could see some sales here.
Looks cool.
I really do think, like you said, it's a good price for what it is. Honestly, if you're looking for HomeKit sensors in that price range, you're going to be looking at $40, $50 for half those guys. I think the speaker sounds pretty darn solid.
Yeah.
You got, Siri support and everything. There's not really anything else even like it to compete with. If you are looking at an Echo or anything like that, it doesn't have Apple smart home tech in there. Right. So for Apple users, this is... Because remember when Apple allowed third-party devices to add HomeKit, and we were going to see all these other speakers add Siri support to them?
We got...
How's that
going?
The
thermostat...
Ecobee
thermostat got Siri and nothing else. Nothing else got Siri.
Nothing ever again.
Which I would love for my Sonos... I know they're not going to do it. I would love for my Sonos speakers to have Siri, because I have my Sonos Move outside... But I don't have a HomePod outside because it's not for outside. And I have a Sonos Move out there. And I would love to be able to tell my Move to do a HomeKit command to turn on my patio lights. But you can't do that because they didn't put Siri in the thing. So I don't know if that's going to happen. But it would be nice. I agree.
Yeah. I mean, I kind of get it from other main Sonos or Amazon's point of view. But when you're someone that is just making... an AirPlay speaker,
right?
Why not?
Why not?
I want to know. Someone DM me. Like I won't say who you are from one of these companies. Just DM me of why you guys never decided to do this, because I'm very curious at, whether it's Apple's licensing or other restrictions. Like maybe it's something like, it can't be blocking other assistants because we do have the other assistants on the Ecobee.
Right.
So
right. Yeah, I don't know.
I'm flummoxed at why no one else is choosing to do this.
That's a good word. Flummoxed is good. Okay,
Thanks.
Before we announce our HomeKit MVP device, which I still have no idea what I'm going to choose, you said you want to vent about a question on YouTube. What question is this?
Okay, so we did a recent review of the, it was a sponsored review, but it was a review of the UniFi Clean X9 Pro.
Oh, yeah.
Which is, by the way, a very nice vacuum cleaner. I have not played with this one before, and then I used it for like a few weeks in place of the Roborock, and it's got some chops to it. It's got really good raising height on the mop heads, and the mop heads like press down quite hard as they're mopping. They do a really good job with the whole mopping thing, and they have like their AI thing for navigation that worked really well. Like I had a pile of like Legos around Harrison's room, and he was like, the robot, not Harrison, was like zigzagging in and out of these Lego pieces. So I thought this was a really cool one. So again, it was a sponsored video review that we did, but I did really like it, whether or not it was paid for or not. But what had set me off, sometimes I can't help myself with arguing in the comments, but someone's like, wow, Gen Z just being so lazy that they're going to spend all this money and be lazy. And I was like, okay, first off, not Gen Z.
Hold up.
Do I look like I'm 20? Because, I'll take it, but I'm not Gen Z for sure. Like right now, Gen Z is 11 to 26 years old, I believe.
Right.
Like you had to have been born like before 2012.
Right.
Like 2002 to 2012, I think is like Gen Z. Right. So I'm like, definitely not Gen Z. I was not born after 2000. So after that, I was like, it's a robot vacuum cleaner. Like I was like, if I was going around and like vacuuming and mopping every day, which is what I had to do like before, I swear it was like a 20-minute chore. Like we would vacuum, we would definitely not mop. Right. But we would like vacuum at least every day with all this dog hair and stuff. It's like 20 minutes a day just to get all of these rooms and everything. Right. And we didn't mop because that was an extra hassle. So to have something in there that is able to kind of take that chore and gives me 20 minutes extra a day, more than 2 hours a week to work, create more content, or spend time with the fam, like, to me, that is easily worth like the price of any of the robot vacuum cleaners that I have bought. So like I was just triggered that this person is like disparaging robot vacuum cleaners, because they are for sure one of my favorite like smart home accessories that I have, put into the home. We talk about them very frequently, and I was just triggered. And then like they responded back like,
oh my word. It's a thread.
He responded back again saying, oh yeah, Gen Z complaining about buying $650 robots and then if they can't live on their paychecks. And I'm like,
what?
Okay, again, not Gen Z. 2, if I had, 2 extra hours a week, I could, easily earn enough money over the course of, however much time to compensate for the robot. Like,
oh my word.
I don't know.
Listen, and it's also just
set me off.
Yeah, I think I don't know for sure, but when you have kids, I feel like that also adds to the equation, because like it's hard. Like you there's lots of stuff to do. Like your life just gets immediately busy. Then if you have multiple kids, you have like a farm, animals, and a child. So you have like a lot of stuff just to take care of around the house, and like it is one of those things where it's just super convenient, like smart shades. I could, easily just have a shade with a drawstring and pull the shades open when I need them open or closed when I need them closed. But the fact that I can then like not do that and spend time doing something else, it's just, yes, it is a convenience. It is not a necessity. You could say it's a first world problem or whatever. But yeah, you could disparage robot vacuums. They also do a great job. Like they also vacuum and mop really well now. And like I understand before, like the old style vacuums maybe didn't do as well, but now they actually clean well. Like probably better than I would do if I was just trying to get it done real quick and missing spots or whatever, just trying to rush through it. So don't disparage robot vacuums.
Yeah, exactly. And this, like you said with the smart shades too, like I'll be honest, like I never opened them
Right.
or remembered to close them because it was like an annoying like little chore that I just I wouldn't do, and then you either don't get the natural light, and it's like, okay, sure, I can be more disciplined and do that, but I don't know. I am definitely someone who is like work smarter, not harder.
Yeah, automate.
And if there's like a basic task that you can automate
Yes.
and take it off your plate and spend more time doing, what you like to do, you should do
Feeding
it.
your chickens.
So exactly doing that. Also, since we're talking about the RoboVacs,
Yes.
my nephew loves their robot vacuum cleaner. Like it's literally his now. It's called Nora,
Okay.
and he just sends it out all the time. And they actually put it onto his iPad so that he could control it. So now he just all the time is like, Nora's gonna clean, and just sends it out. And then he just gets all excited, and he'll like FaceTime my wife, and he's like, Aunt Beth, show me your robot. Our main one's called RoboBert, of course.
RoboBert.
So he's like, show me RoboBert. And she's like, where does it live? And she's got to go show it. It's docking station. And when I'm like testing other ones, he's like, why do you have 3? Why do you have 2? Like, just he calls and FaceTime. Let me see the dogs. Let me see the bunnies. Let me see the cats. Let me see the robot. Like, it's another one of the animals in the house.
That's hilarious. It's fun. It's fun stuff. That's cool. Listener and watcher viewer Simon Salvin actually sent us a picture of something that he did. This is a ceiling mount, recessed mount. I said mount twice. For, the Philips Hue Motion Sensor? So he stuck it in his ceiling? Honestly, I think this is genius. Genius. Because then it gets like
Absolutely.
a lot of the room. And you can just have a motion sensor in the top of the room. That's pretty cool. I like it.
Yeah, I mean, I like this for like 2 reasons. The first is it puts it completely out of the way. Like, you don't have to have another item. I hate clutter, and it's just like one more thing that's not on your counter somewhere.
Right.
It just gets it out of the way. But then 2, it gives you so much more coverage because you just put it in the center of whatever room, and your whole room is going to be detectable. And I kind of wish, we had these for other ones. I know they actually do send like the mounting stuff in the box, but the Hue one works so much better. But like the Akara one that had come out, it has like the whole like fall detection if you mount it on the ceiling.
Right.
But it is USB-C, which means you have to like run a wire somehow to do all of that. So like that's the downside there. Whereas the Hue is just running on like a AAA battery or whatever, and I swear it lives like 5 lifetimes.
Forever.
Like, I'm pretty sure I've replaced the battery on this like 1 time ever.
Yes.
So
It's true.
this is such a cool little thing. So it looks like it just goes into like a can light mount almost. So I don't have to, if you have to sacrifice one of your can lights in like a kitchen area or a hallway,
Right.
or just drill another just circle in your ceiling. But great idea.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I like that. Thank you, Simon. Well, the voice is almost going. Here we go. Finally, we had a listener question. Dustin, he's having some trouble with the Apple TV 4K. He got a new one. They're not accessing the Home app. He was asking for some help. And I'll be honest, like many HomeKit things, you might just got to factory reset stuff. I'm not sure. Like, I don't know what kind of solutions we can offer you. A lot of times it just acts funny. So yeah, I would factory reset one Apple TV, try to get it to connect, log into your main HomeKit account, whatever iCloud account is the owner of your home, and see if that helps. But yeah, it's hard to troubleshoot this kind of stuff, especially remotely. So I don't know if you have any other wisdom, Andrew. Maybe throw the Apple TV out the window. I'm not sure. But
No, I have not heard of this before. I don't know if any of the listeners have. If you have, just let me know if you have seen this or had a solution. But right now, Dustin, like Steven said, it's try to do factory reset. It's just, which is fortunately easy enough on an Apple TV because you have things like home screen syncing across other Apple TVs if you have them.
I like the reaction.
Yeah, Yep.
The FaceTime
I
reaction.
don't know other wow. No, I don't know what the other ones are other than like the thumbs up situation. But yeah, the factory reset is the easiest way I would think to solve that because there hasn't been anything reported that I have seen. That's just the way to go. Plus, it's like the third. So that's the new one, right? That's the most recent Apple TV 4K third gen, so like the Thread enabled one.
Yes.
And all of that. So it's not even like it's an aging like Apple TV HD or anything.
Right.
This just seems like a sign out, sign. I guess you could just sign out, sign back in first to leave all of your apps untouched. Right. But
that's a tough one.
Yeah, that's where you kind of have to fall back with HomeKit sometimes.
Exactly.
Because it's like we take care of everything for you until we don't. Then you just have to start.
Just got to figure it out. All right, I'm gonna name a 3-way tie for my HomeKit MVP device. I'm gonna cheat. My Maris garage door opener, I love it. Super solid, never disconnects. Opening your garage with a Siri command on the Apple Watch is just one of the coolest things. That might be the winner, but I'm going to say the Maris garage door opener. Number 2, I know it's an older model, but my Logitech Circle View doorbell camera. The Logitech Circle View cameras are kind of spotty, but the doorbell has been solid. And if you have an Apple TV, I think a video doorbell like the Logitech Circle View is one of the coolest things. Like just seeing the live feed video show up on the Apple TV, being able to choose your HomePods that will chime with the doorbell, it's really cool. And so my Logitech Circle View doorbell, I do really love that. And I'll have to give another 3-way tie. There's so many good stuff. Like I want to say the Eve Aqua on the garden hose is so cool. The Aqara contact sensor is solid. I love getting notified when a door's been left open like a mini fridge. I love the Eve Flare. I mean, all of the Philips Hue stuff is solid. But I do have to say, because I'm literally spending $70 per switch to replace all the switches that have been broken, the Lutron dimmers, the Diva specifically, and the Claro switch, just rock solid light switch. I always prefer having a HomeKit switch over a bulb, and the Lutron stuff is just super solid. And so I'll give the third tie to the Lutron switches. Andrew, do you have 1 or 5 MVPs?
I'll just copy you and go with 3.
Okay.
And like before we even get into like my actual top 3, there are so many that are amazing.
So many.
Like all of my shades work. I have no fault at all with any. Like the Hunter Douglas, Lutron shades, Eve Motion blinds are all the 3 that I've outfitted my house, and they're all exceptional and great. Like the Aqara stuff is so spot on with their like affordability and stuff. They're great cameras.
Yes.
But I think the 3 that I'm going to settle on, and also I will say Apple TV would probably be my number 1, but I'm not going to list Apple products. We're going to go with third parties here.
Yeah.
But Apple TV would be probably my number 1 if we're including Apple.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go with first the Level Lock. I really like it.
Yes.
It is spot on. It is fast. It is, home key, minimalist, not taking up space or anything. Like exceptional, like Apple quality product in terms of like look, experience, everything. Number 2 would be the Ecobee thermostat.
Yes.
I too think that they have supported everything they possibly can and more.
Yeah.
I mean, this stuff like integrating their doorbell within their own ecosystem, but supporting everything that Apple has through HomeKit, Siri support, like the motion sensors in the rooms and contact sensors on the door that can pause your AC and heat if a door is left open. Like, it's a very complete, well thought out ecosystem from them. So that, and it can help you save money. Like that's another big benefit. Like just being able to automate your AC and your heat and pausing for the doors is great for saving money. And then finally, the last one on my list would be the Hue. Yeah. Anything in Hue. Yeah. They were my very first like HomeKit product, I think. Well, actually, no, sorry. The Eve products were my very first HomeKit stuff. But they were my first smart bulbs I had before even... they were my first smart bulbs before HomeKit was even a thing. And they got me even a big start on my own YouTube channel. Like, they got me a huge boost, like with hundreds of thousands of views on like their review. That's awesome. Have been super duper solid. They have continued to come out with brighter bulbs so many styles of bulbs for everything, plus some incredible fixtures. I've got like Hue spotlights outside my house that we adjust. Like they are doing, like their motion sensor is still top motion sensor possibly available in HomeKit. They have up till now, well, still now basically, the only outdoor HomeKit motion sensor. Now they've gone and added, cameras, the sync box. Like they have so many amazing things. They've just come such a long way. So I think Hue would be in my third spot as just like product line
so good
for there. But those would be my three.
That's so good. I'm glad you mentioned the Ecobee thermostat because that is A, super solid. Never had it disconnected from HomeKit, and being able to change the temperature of your house is awesome. And I'm glad you said smart shades too, because my Eve motion blinds have been amazing. My Smart Wings shades over thread, also awesome. Like, don't disconnect. It's so fun. Like, having shades go up and down is, again, one of those wow moments for, like, non-smart home people. They're like, oh, I want that. Like, it's just an easy sell. And it's just so many good stuff. And all the buttons. Oh, my goodness. I have 18,000 buttons, as you know. But anyway.
There's so much.
So much. HomeKit, it's fun. That is... that's been the motto of this show for the last couple of years, 3 years. HomeKit is fun, and I enjoy it.
Well, I will say as we round this out, like the podcast is not, there's going to be an episode next week, one way or the other. I will be at least back, whether me or with someone else, and can give you the fate of the podcast, because right now still don't know what the future holds. I have maybe some contingency plans, if need be, to at least do something, even if it looks slightly stripped down in terms of like production and stuff, but do my best to keep this going in the future. So there 100% will be an episode next week. So don't everyone abandon ship like Steven.
I will be watching.
I just can't give a firm update on. I feel like we've just been like stepping around it, and it's because I don't know what the future is 100% yet. So don't leave.
No.
Don't leave me. But I can't give you a firm direction on the podcast, at least until next week. So that's the update on the pod. And thank you to everyone who has been with us for almost 200 episodes here.
It's wild. So stay with it. Listen, HomeKiteers. Remain HomeKiteers. HomeKit Insider Kiteers. That doesn't make any sense. And Andrew, thanks for doing this show and starting it with me. And I hope you can continue. It's been fun. I love smart home stuff, and it's been fun to be able to talk about it every week. And good luck to you. Thank you again for several years of just fun stuff. And the HomeKiteer audience has been amazing, the engagement and support. And so thank you all. It's been a pleasure. You can find Andrew and myself on social media. Those links are still in the show notes. Don't leave the show, everyone. Don't be like me. Stay with the show. Listen on. And listen, Andrew's the pro. He's the smart home pro, and he's follow him into whatever direction it goes. So thank you, Andrew. It's been fun. My color changed behind me because I accidentally pressed a HomeKit button, and now it's blue.
You should just turn all the lights off. That's your.
I accidentally hit my TUO button.
Turn them
here. That's how I'll leave. I'm going to open my studio app. I'm going to one by one turn off every light until there are none left but the Eve flare. Good night and goodbye.
That's a wrap on Steven Robles.
That was dramatic.